Hey, Arman here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Show. I'm Arman Eckelbarger.
And I am Frank Mills, and Armin and I have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about, does cardio burn fat? Does it? And Vince's special protein drink. So we're going to be talking about some good stuff today. Armin, this is what, episode 21. It's mind blowing, right? 21 episodes for NSP. Yeah.
Yep.
So Armin, how did you come up with the topic of does cardio burn fat? I mean, it's pretty controversial, right?
Yeah, it's you see it all the time. I see it in social media posts. Everybody talks about doing cardio. But I personally do not think they understand how cardio really works, in my opinion. So this is going to be my thoughts on cardio, and then people will disagree, whatever. That's fine. But I've done cardio a lot of different ways, and we're going to talk about how I see it.
Okay. Well, a lot of the advertising that we see on TV for several of the things that are out there, people are jumping around and doing aerobics and doing all these cardio exercises. So this episode may ruffle a few feathers. We know that, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident we're going to be ruffling a few feathers. So, here's the thing, okay? What most people think regarding using cardio is they're going to lose weight,
right,
versus fat loss. And there's a big difference when it comes to understanding how that works. Because these people that are about losing weight are also about being in a calorie deficit. And yes, you do need to be in a calorie deficit. There's no reason to not go with that.
right.
But at the same time, there's things you need to do nutritionally to allow you to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. But thinking that you're going to do cardio to lose body fat, I think you'll be surprised what we're going to talk about.
Well, right there is a good starting point. Maybe you can offer what would be the difference of losing weight and fat. I mean, isn't that the same difference?
Not at all. So, again, when people talk about weight loss, all they're talking about is calories in and calories out being a calorie deficit. Okay. Yes, you will lose weight, but
Mm-hmm.
are you actually losing body fat? Because that's what people think that they're losing because they're in a
Right,
calorie
right.
deficit. And that's not how it works. You burn glucose with any exercise you do, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
cardio, weight training, any activity, you're burning glucose. So where is it that you start burning fat as you do your cardio? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
question you got to ask yourself. Plus, if you're having carbohydrates throughout the day and your insulin's elevated, again, people do not understand how insulin works apparently,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a fat storage hormone. And when insulin is working and floating in your system, you're not going to burn any fat. You got to get that
Mm-hmm.
insulin out of the system before it even begin to think about burning fat. And people they just because of what's in the media and then what the other
Yeah.
experts are saying, they're just assuming the weight loss is 100% fat loss. And I disagree.
Well, there's no way, just in common sense to me, that you can eat whatever you want, and just because you're going to do some high cardio, that you're not going to gain weight, or even that you're going to lose weight. It just kind of drives me crazy a little bit. But let's kind of get back to this. Let's say when someone is doing cardio, you know, what are they actually burning if they're not burning fat, so we can educate?
Yeah. So again, you're first typically with anything you do exercise related, whether it's weight training or cardio, you're going to burn glucose because that's your quick energy. And you're going to keep going through that glucose as fast as your body needs to. Okay. And so when that's completed and you have no insulin floating around, then there's a chance you may burn some fat. How long is that going to take? Well, that's another wide open question. The other thing is once your glucose gets low and the body's wanting to continue using glucose, there's other processes we're going to talk about that affect that. So what we want to mention here is, again, how insulin works. So if you're having carbohydrates throughout the day, and your insulin's elevated to help process those carbohydrates, you will not burn any fat with cardio or your weight training because insulin is still floating around. It's not going to allow that to happen. You've got to burn down the insulin first, get it to where it's not in your system, and then you'll continue to burn carbs during that process. That's what people need to get a better understanding of.
Absolutely. Now, is it possible to burn muscle with cardio if you are burning glucose?
And that's the thing that people don't get. And it's really frustrating to me when I work with people and they think that that's, that doesn't happen. But it does happen. And it happens through a process called neoglucogenesis or gluconeogenesis. And so because people don't really think about that either, what really happens here is as your carbohydrates get low and your body needs some more glucose, it takes the body and takes amino acids, which is extracted from muscle tissue, to continue to make glucose. Now, is this an extreme case or whatever? No, but it does happen over time, depending on how much glucose you're burning. So you can end up potentially burning muscle tissue, which is hard earned because your body can't get to the fat because of the way it's using energy. So what people need to understand is gluconeogenesis, its really major role is to create glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, such as glucogenic amino acids, glycerol, and so on. So during gluconeogenesis, the liver and occasionally the kidneys, what they're going to do, they're going to turn to non-sugar compounds like amino acids, which are, again, those are the building blocks of protein, lactate and glycerol into sugar that the body can use as fuel. So if it needs amino acids, it needs to break down some muscle to get some amino acids to continue having the fuel to do the workout. And this is something people need to learn more about. Now, again, we're going to scratch the surface on it, but I just want to bring it straight to people's attention.
Well, a lot of people out there are going to assume that cardio, is going to burn fat. And with the information that you're bringing, this is really good information. You're breaking it down so they have a good understanding. But with that being said, is cardio a good thing or a bad thing for fat burning?
Well, to me, it's great for burning off excess glucose. So if you're somebody who's eating a lot of carbohydrates, what you're going to be able to do is at least burn off some of the carbohydrates you're eating that day. That'll help. So that's a good thing. And it can help bring down your insulin so it drops down faster so that you can potentially get into a fat burning zone. But again, what you want to be aware of is just not assuming that because you're doing it, you're burning fat. So I'll tell you, people think they burn fat doing it because of what they hear in the media, and the way the media projects it is like that's just the fact. And again, if you really read through the lines, all the media talks about is weight loss. They're not talking about fat loss. Everything, because you start digging, you're going to see it's all about weight loss. Because when you lose weight and you're doing it this way, you're going to lose some weight. You're going to lose water weight. You're going to lose the carbohydrates you've ate, and then potentially burn some muscle tissue before you ever get to any fat. So yeah, you'll lose some weight, but it's not what you're hoping to lose or what you believe you're going to lose. That's why I wanted to highlight that today.
Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure it's got to ruffle some feathers big time.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least we're bringing up something that is very out there, like I said, and like you said, it's in the media, it's everywhere. Everybody just seems to have the mindset. I had a friend of mine said, have you ever seen a fat runner? And I'm like, dude, you're just totally defeating the whole discussion here. That has nothing to do with it. Just because, somebody is very active and they don't lift weights, that doesn't mean that they're not going to get fat. It means that maybe their nutrition is really good along with
Well,
that cardio, right?
let's put it this way. Have you ever seen a really muscular looking distance runner? No. You'll see
No,
a
never.
sprinter, and a sprinter doesn't do that type of volume. So there's a huge difference there. Okay, just to get on that topic by itself.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, just because, and yes, there are fat runners. Believe it or not, they're all over the place. Just look outside and you'll see them, and
right.
they're all struggling.
Right,
So
right,
that question wasn't a good question for that person to say, in my
right.
opinion.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, though, with the long distance of the marathon runners are very lean. They don't have really good physiques. They're on like their bare bones, where
Yeah,
the fast distance runners, the short runners, the sprinters like a Usain Bolt, very muscular, very well developed,
right.
and a lot better physique. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. All right, so I'm just kind of curious, what did Vince think about this? I mean, how did he feel about cardio?
Well, based on what I've learned, I mean, he just felt it was a waste of time, and he never had one. As far as I know, he had no cardio machines in his
Right,
gym. He just and Vince was smart. He realized you don't need that if you're doing a fast-paced resistance training program because you're going to be burning glycogen and you're going to be
right,
getting everything you need. Because Vince based his fat loss, or if you want to call it weight loss, but
right.
his fat loss was on nutrition. And then the training helps to enhance that because you bring up the muscularity more. So he figured it out a long time ago. But it was, yeah, the cardio craze, that happened with different people that wanted to promote it because it's easy and it's convenient to do. I get that. That's fine.
Hmm.
But again, you're burning glucose, you're burning energy. Don't feel like you're burning body fat is what
Right.
you need to really understand, in my opinion.
Okay, so we know how Vince actually thought about this. What about Armin Eckelbarker? I mean, do you use cardio? How do you use it, Armin?
Okay, so for me, I'm lean. So I'm preserving all the glucose I need to preserve because I want it for my weight training. So all I do
Okay.
cardio for is just to warm up my body. So I'll do it for 5, maybe 10 minutes to get the body, the tissues warmed up, and that's pretty
Hmm.
much it for me. I don't do
Okay.
cardio. I don't do cardio for contest training either. I get really
Okay.
lean because I do it the way Vince did it, and it works. So,
Okay.
and these people that do all this cardio, just understand that in a lot of cases you're burning muscle tissue. So stop eating all the carbohydrates because that's what's making you do cardio. You have all this extra body fat, and you're thinking,
Right.
I got to get rid of that because carbohydrates, they don't understand it. They convert to fat, and that's what they do. Stop eating all the carbohydrates and do it the way Vince did it. I think you're going to find much, much better results if you want to lean out the right way.
So Armin, what you're saying is you use nutrition to burn your fat, kind of like Vince did, right?
Exactly. And you're understanding how insulin works.
Hmm.
So, and Vince understood it, and it worked. He could get people in shape really, really quickly, and he had different diet programs that helped to do that. But what you need to understand, it was not based on doing cardio to get these people lean. But that's what you see with all
Right.
these,
Right.
these other bodybuilders and other competitors. They think they have to do cardio. I don't do that, and I got my
Right.
pro card. I didn't have to do that for my pro card. So just things to keep in mind.
All right. So just to be clear, you don't use cardio for yourself or clients to burn fat, just to validate.
Well, I'll use cardio for a client to help burn
Hmm.
off more glucose. That's how
Okay.
I look at it because most people they need to get their insulin level down. So I'll use it for
Right.
that. And when I do that, it's typically 20 minutes of high intensity interval training. So again, I'm not saying don't do cardio. I'm just
Right.
telling you understand how cardio works. So if you need to bring down your glucose levels, to get your insulin in check, then cardio
Right.
can help that. But just understand you don't need to do it for a long period of time. No more than
Well,
20 minutes, in my opinion.
right. Right. Well, the reason why we said this show is going to ruffle some feathers is, you know, what you're saying is going against what a lot of the experts or fitness gurus out there are saying, right?
Yeah, well, I've done it. I mean, I've done cardio all kinds of ways, and I've seen what happens to me, and I've seen what happens to my clients. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're eating the right way, it's not necessary. But most people, that are struggling, they're not eating the right way because they're confused by what's out there in the media. They think, well, you can
Mm-hmm.
have carbohydrates. Nothing wrong with carbohydrates. They're 4 kilocalories. It's all calorie, calorie, calorie. I get the calorie thing. You need to have calorie balance, okay? But at the same time, understand calorie is not a calorie either. If you're eating protein, you're eating carbohydrates. Those are two different things that are going to break down totally differently, and they're going to
Mm-hmm.
make a huge difference, especially with elevating your insulin on how you're going to burn fat. So that again, I'm going to keep pushing that because that's a huge difference from what I've seen.
Well, it is very frustrating sometimes to watch some of the commercials on TV, and you just like, hey, if you do this, look how you'll look, and it's very
Yeah.
misleading, very uninformative. They are trying to sell. I get that. So, with all the information you brought today, any final thoughts just to wrap up the segment?
Yeah. Again, just to repeat, use
Mm-hmm.
cardio if you need to burn off the glucose to help get your insulin levels down.
Right.
But don't you got to be careful because it will burn
Right.
muscle. Because I've done it, it'll burn muscle, and it sucks when it happens because it's hard to put muscle on. So now it does come back if once you
Right. Right.
understand that. But be careful with cardio and don't think you're burning fat. Okay, reevaluate what you're doing with it, and also evaluate your nutrition. So if
Mm-hmm.
you eat a lot of carbohydrates, then you're gonna end up doing cardio just to burn off the carbohydrates. So stop eating
Right.
so many of them. So that's how I would do it.
Absolutely.
And then again, don't look at weight loss. Focus on fat loss because that's the long-term gain. You don't yo-yo diet when you lose body fat the right way.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of great information, Arman. A great segment, and I'm looking forward to seeing the interesting feedback that we're going to be getting either through NSP Nutrition or on our YouTube channel. But
Yeah.
Arman, I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. Stand by for a quick word from NSP Nutrition, and Arman and I will be right back.
Hey, and welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Arman Eckelbarger.
And I'm Frank Mills, and we're going to get right into our next segment, Vince's special protein drink. Now, I'm sure that we've already piqued a lot of interest out there, unless somebody already knows about it. But, Armin, what is so special about Vince's protein drink? I mean, is this a secret formula or something?
It kind of is. I mean, you
Okay.
don't read about it very many places. So, what happens with a typical protein drink is you take some whatever whey protein or whatever
Uh-huh.
protein you're using,
Right.
and you put that in a shaker bottle with some milk, almond milk. People use juice, which I don't recommend. I
Right.
mean, whatever you're going to use, you shake it up,
Water. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kick it back, or yeah, you can use water. Any different liquid, and then
Right.
that's your protein drink. So there you go. Vince takes it a step further and
Okay.
really puts some better quality into the protein drink, in my opinion. And it's controversial because Vince was controversial. But again, he learned a lot of things from a lot of the right people. So we're going to kind of
Okay.
touch on that. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So maybe you could just kind of start with the things that were in his special protein drink, the ingredients and
Yeah.
how he came up with this.
So what he would do is, there's different phases that he did with this protein drink, but the one that's most common now is you get a blender and then you'd add 12 whole eggs, and preferably they were fertilized eggs, and there's different reasons for
Wow.
that. There's
Okay.
follistatin in it and other good components to the egg, the fertilized egg. Then you would add 12 ounces of half and half, so very minimal carb. Then a third to half a cup of the NSP milk and egg protein powder, and
Okay.
then one ripe banana. So you put all that in the blender and blend it up. And I've done this, and I was able to drink the whole thing like a meal. But then it's also had different combinations of how you wanted to use this protein drink. And so if you felt like you're a hard gainer and you wanted to get more muscle bulk, so to speak, then he'd have you mix up 3 of these. So that's 36 eggs, up to 36 eggs, and you had to work your way up to it.
Wow.
But he'd have you do as many as 3 of those a day, plus your food, but you'd sip it throughout the day. So there's a lot of strategy behind why he would do it. But people start thinking, oh, this is raw egg. You're putting half and half in it, and you're putting this in it. Wow.
Right, right. I can only imagine what experts are going to say, or even nutrition experts, about this combination. I mean, that's a lot of eggs, right?
Well, yeah, and so you had this other controversy about cholesterol, which
Right, true.
I don't think that's ever going to get resolved. But you know, people just connect cholesterol to adding to your cholesterol overall.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to talk about the dairy. You're using dairy, and that's bad. Dairy's bad. Calories, and then all this excess fat you're consuming.
Right, right.
Um, like some of these people, they're like, well, you should probably have your cardiologist on standby,
Right,
because
right.
of what you're doing, and that's because of what's in the media, and then what's being promoted in the medical community. But there's other things that are suggesting that the medical community needs to really start looking at what they're doing, because there's other studies showing that your body regulates cholesterol itself, and it does it through
Mm-hmm.
the liver. So nutritionally, you're not going to really manipulate your cholesterol a lot nutritionally. So the only way they can really manipulate your cholesterol is through the statin drugs. So that's another thing that, again, people don't quite understand. They're told that if you eat certain things, it'll adjust your cholesterol. Yeah, it'll adjust it temporarily, but it's still going to be doing what it's going to do, because your body through the liver regulates how much cholesterol you make. So if you don't have any cholesterol, your liver's going to make what you need to make to do its job. So that's another thing you kind of keep in mind with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, if you're working out, you need good cholesterol to rebuild cells. So, we're going to get more into that as well as we go on. So,
Well, obviously, he came up with this because he was trying to kind of create a result by doing this. So, what exactly is this protein drink supposed to do?
from Vince's viewpoint, he wanted to help build muscle, because you need a lot of amino acids, and you need a lot of quality protein, and eggs are the number one source. From a protein
Mm-hmm.
efficiency ratio, they're 3.9 on a 4-point scale. So you're not going to find a more highly absorbable protein source than eggs. So, I mean, the next closest one is going to be
Right.
beef, but that's a totally different uh, meat source. So,
Mm-hmm.
so he wanted to use this for hard gainers, and also people who are looking to bulk, to get the results that they were after. Now, he also felt like eggs are a great hormone precursor, because of how the process was used to treat burn victims. So the reason he
Mm-hmm.
came up with the 36 eggs was because of he read about how they would treat burn victims, and to help these burn victims with their tissues and getting in back to where they needed to be, they would feed them up to 36 eggs a day.
Oh my
And so
gosh. Hmm.
so it came from documented science that he found this. And so what ended up happening over time, people didn't like eating all the eggs that were a burn victim. So then they ended up replacing it with a steroid called Dianabol. So when Vince learned about that, he's like, oh, so this is just as potent as the steroid Dianabol. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
it's all came about, to be, as part of a hormone precursor type of food source. So yeah, there you go. And then you got the half and half, which is casein. That protein is a slower burning protein, which is
Right.
good because that stays in your system longer. And then the right banana was designed to give you an insulin spike, okay, to make and push all the nutrients into the cells really rapidly. So it was brilliant to me. It was just a
Hmm.
brilliant move. So you get the insulin spike with that right banana, but it drops right back down because
Right,
that's all you're
right,
having. And then you got the protein powder, which I think that mostly is to help with the usable protein you have, and also to kind of
right.
flavor up the drink and keep it more as a consistent thick, more of a thicker type of drink versus
Mm-hmm.
making it too watery. Because whole eggs they're slippery and things like that, so you want to make it so
Right,
it would go down comfortably.
right. Wow. Well, you know, I do think that I like the milk and egg protein, but boy, you got me curious about how that would increase the consistency, and it might even make it taste um, a little thicker, more like a actual true shake, I guess. But
Mhm.
is it something that you've tried? I mean, have you tried his shake?
Oh yeah, I've done it. It
Okay.
tastes really good. I was really
Hmm.
surprised how well it tastes, and it fills you up. I mean, you're going to be good for 3, 4 hours easy after having that whole, if you drink the whole thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see where you could build up to 36 eggs a day as you get used to it. But again, you don't do this for a long period of time. We'll touch on
Right.
that. But the thing is it does taste good, and you would have to build up to it if you were to go to that length. But you don't have
Right.
to.
Right.
A lot of
Right.
people can just do this one drink and get great benefits from it.
Well, that being said, who would you recommend this drink to?
So, in my opinion, but using it myself, I'd recommend it to young people who are just getting started and they're trying to put on quality weight, quality
Uh huh.
muscle. So if you're looking to add more muscle, then and now if you're just looking to add more muscle, I would recommend it. Uh, and then again, you want to make sure that when you're doing this, using this, you got good robust health. So if you're already overweight and you're trying to lose body fat, probably not going to be a good solution for you,
Right.
okay? Because you already got a weight loss thing or fat loss thing you got to deal with. So I wouldn't recommend it to that type person, but somebody who's in good, lean, robust health and looking to bulk up some muscle, hard gainers, somebody like myself as well. I think it'd be a great fit, and that's pretty much what I think Vince wanted to use it for.
Hmm. Interesting. So, how how long should someone use this type of actual protein drink, Armin?
So, like, you can use different versions of the drink, but this particular
Yeah.
combination and his special drink, Vince only wanted to use this for like 6 to 8 weeks max,
Okay.
and then you'd move on to a more stable diet because you're also eating with this too. So, but then you would take it out of the mix, and then he liked to recommend people to use the advanced maintenance diet once
Mm-hmm.
you've taken a break from this. Because again, you're putting the digestive system through a lot of stress, so to speak, with all the food consumption. So you need to give it a
Mm-hmm.
break and allow that gut microbiome to reestablish again. So again, it's not something you do long term. That's another thing that needs to be highlighted. So you can do other combinations where you do a smaller type of shake where you just do
Right.
maybe 3 eggs and protein and some, less, not so much half and half, probably half the amount, like 6 ounces, and then blend that up. That's different. Okay, so you can do that and probably do that on a more stable basis. But this is his protein drink that he did for special reasons.
So let's say that hypothetically you're on this plan, you do the 36 eggs, you do it for the time limit that he suggested. Would a person go back to their regular protein drink after that? I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like for myself,
Uh-huh.
when I did it, I was doing it, and it it was interesting how it works. I mean, it does really fill you up. Now, one thing I want to say though, on top of that, is when you make that drink, always put your eggs in first and make sure they're all good. Because every now and then
Mm-hmm.
you get a bad egg, and that could be a real
Right.
drawback because
Right.
you have to just dump all the eggs you have. So you gotta. I do that first, then I add half and half. Just real quick tip there. Then I put the
Yep.
protein powder in, then I put the banana in. So put the eggs in first so you can make sure you got all good eggs and none of them went bad. Okay. Now, with that
Yeah.
being said, then when when I went off of it, I just used the regular protein, milk and egg protein. I just use it with almond milk and just shake it up in a shaker bottle, which is quick and easy. Every now and then I throw some eggs in and then change it up that way. It just depends if I have breakfast. If I'm making breakfast, then I'm not going to use the drink. But if I wasn't going to be able to eat, then I think that drink is a really good fit.
Absolutely. Got me curious on a couple of things with this, but I guess you get a lot of information. Anything or maybe any final thoughts to wrap things up?
Okay, so just keep in mind, there's a lot of different ways that you can make, or approach how do you want to make a protein drink. This is one of Vince's special formulas that we wanted to touch on because it was something he created. And nobody else has ever done anything like this. But again, you can do other simple manners with your protein powder. You can use water. You can use almond milk. You can use heavy cream. You can use half and half. There is some benefits by having the fat added in when you make your protein drink because fats, again, help protein digest. So if you want to get a better absorption of all your protein powder, then I'd recommend using half and half, heavy cream, or if you don't want to do that, then you can put a little MCT oil in with like almond milk or low carb milk to give you some fats, which will help that protein absorb even better.
Well, Arman, as usual, a lot of great information, and I'm sure everyone appreciates all the hard work you put into the show. So thank you very much.
No problem. Looking forward to doing it again next week, and hopefully we get some good takeaways here. I'm hoping we prompt some response. Pretty confident that could happen here since we're hitting on a controversial subject. But yeah, it's always good stuff.
Well, just to let everybody know too, don't forget to check out nspnutrition.com for any of your supplement needs. And hey, we just added some workout gear in the accessories area, so check it out. Arman, you and I have been doing this show, episode 21, but we've also been doing another show where we started, Frank Mills Reality Fitness. We started this. We've got well over 80 episodes. So if you like this show, go check that one out too. This is, I would say this is a more advanced show where reality fitness is more common sense for everybody, right?
Yeah. Well, this is more advanced for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Arman, we rely on the audience too for feedback and questions, right?
Yep, exactly. So if you have questions, suggestions, let us know, put some comments in there and we can respond to them. And
absolutely.
Then, the other thing is we'll get back to you as quickly as possible, but also be sure to, if you like what we're talking about, share it with other people, do what you can to let people know about the show, because then that helps make everything work better.
Yeah, we are now officially on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. It's official. It took forever, unfortunately. We had some real hiccups there, but we got the show active, available anywhere where you get your podcasts, of course, available here on YouTube as well. And if you have questions or comments about the show, you can comment in the YouTube section, and Arman logs in there and he will answer you. But also you can email support@nspnutrition.com and they'll get that information to us as well. And who knows, whatever your question or topic is may be impacted for the next show. So we appreciate that. Again, thanks for joining Arman and I today, and check back next week for another NSP Nutrition Show.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP Show. Go to nspnutrition.com where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget, you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP Show at the checkout. Catch you next time.